Hello, my name is Grace Johnson, and I'm the youth pastor's wife here at Victory Baptist Church, and I'm also the graphic designer here. It's a privilege for me to serve here with Nathan, my husband, and the two of us have two children. Michael, he's 2.5, and Emma, she's almost 9 months old. And this September will actually be 5 years since we've moved here to Roanoke Rapids to work here at Victory. And I can truly say that this place is now our home, and our church family is our family. Though we may not have any blood relatives nearby, our church family has become a family to us, and we are truly blessed to be here. To our Victory Baptist Church family, to our ladies, to our teen girls especially, of course to our kids, I just want to say that I miss you all. I'm praying that one day soon that we can all get together again as a church family. I miss talking to you all, but I am thankful for live stream. I am thankful for our social media and now our live stream teen class as well, where we can still interact and be together as a church family, even though we're not physically near each other. If there's something I can do for you to help you or be a blessing to you in any way, please don't hesitate to let me know and to give me a text. I am thankful for this way that we can talk to each other and for this opportunity I have right now to speak with you all. And I hope that something I say can be a blessing to you. They say that absence makes the heart grow fonder or farther. And I pray that during this time in our lives, in our country and in our world right now, that we use this time to become closer to God and more fond of the things of God and more fond of church, not farther. It's so easy to get out of our routine, especially with this going on right now, and to become casual with things that are supposed to be important. And I'm not talking about, not spending enough time or fun times with your family. Of course, I think it's very important that we all do that we spend time with our families, just doing things that are fun and not necessarily trying to get our to-do list done. But I do think that during this time we should, and any time, we should never forget the things that are important, like church and our Bible reading and prayer. I was reading recently in my Bible, and the Lord gave me this particular verse that I'm going to share with you today, and I hope it's a blessing to someone. In Deuteronomy chapter 31, Moses is giving Joshua, the priests, and the children of Israel some final instructions before he passes on and before they enter into the promised land without him. And in this one verse, in verse 8, I see that Moses gives Joshua some reminders before they go to battle. Deuteronomy 31:8 says, "And the Lord, he it is that doth go before thee. He will be with thee. He will not fail thee, neither forsake thee. Fear not, neither be dismayed." I love it when the Bible outlines itself. Here we see 6 very clear, very simple points and thoughts for Joshua to remember before he enters into a battle. Today, of course, we're not conquering lands like the children of Israel are, but we are fighting very real battles in our own lives today. Maybe today you're going through a trial. Of course, we have this coronavirus going on, or maybe you're going through a health situation that's completely different from this virus, or maybe you're going through a financial situation, or maybe a work situation, or maybe you have a strain at home, or a strain with your family, or a strain with your ministry. We all go through trials, and maybe you're going through a trial right now. Maybe you're entering into a new phase of life. Maybe you're going from high school into college. Maybe you're about to get married. Maybe you're about to have a child. Maybe you're about to be a parent. Maybe you're entering into a new work field. Maybe the Holy Spirit's convicting you about something, about obeying his commandments, or doing his will, or just doing and taking a new step in life, and that's a battle in itself for you. We all go through battles today, and in this verse, I see 6 reminders that we as Christians can remember before we go into battle. Number 1, I see that God is our forerunner. The first part of that verse says, "He it is that doth go before thee." I'm so glad that in everything that we do, and everything that comes our way, God is already ahead of me. God is already ahead of you. He's an omniscient God, an omnipresent God. He knows exactly what we're going through today, yesterday, and tomorrow. He's like a forerunner in a race. He's already been where we're at right now. It's nice to know that God has already navigated our path He knows when it gets tough. He knows when it gets bumpy or windy, excuse me. He knows when to slow down, when we need to slow down, when we need to speed up. And, whatever you're going through today, remember that he's already there, and he can lead you to the very end. There's a song that says, he's already in your tomorrow. He's walking one step ahead. Whether it's joy or it's sorrow, he'll do just what he said. He'll never leave you lonely in the land of the great unknown. He's already in your tomorrow. Don't be afraid, so keep pressing on. Secondly, I see in this verse that not only is God our forerunner, but he's our friend. The second part of that verse says, he will be with thee. A friend is one that is attached to another by affection or esteem. I'm so blessed to have very many friends in my life, friends that I've had for many years, and friends that I've had that I've made just recently, even here since we've moved to Roanoke Rapids. And I think it's very important for us ladies to have friends. I think ladies crave friendship, and I'm just so blessed to have many friends, particularly my best friend, of course, after Nathan, who's my husband. My best friend is my sister. For those of you who know my sister and I, we're twins. My sister Joy is my twin sister, and she lives in California, and I live all the way out here in North Carolina. But somehow, even though we live 3,000 miles apart, we still make it a point to keep each other up to date with our lives. If something happens in our lives, or in my life, she's always the first person to know outside of my own little family. And it's the same both ways for her. And I love that, whether maybe I'm making a life-changing decision, or maybe I'm thinking about a project, or I'm working on something, I need her advice, or maybe I'm trying to redecorate something at the house, or maybe something at the church that we're working on, or maybe we just want to talk about silly things like, or light things like our favorite Hallmark or something. It's just, it's wonderful to have a best friend, one that you want to always stay right next to and stay right beside and always be up to date with. But just as it's natural for me to want to talk to my sister all the time and to keep her up to date, it's more important that we do the same with Jesus Christ. He's supposed to be our very best friend, and he should be our very best friend. He's the very best friend we can ever have if we just let him. In Matthew 28 verse 20, it says, "Lo, I am with you always, even unto the end of the world." And that's the kind of friend that Jesus Christ is. He's going to be with us till the very end, and I'm thankful for that. Number 3, I see in this verse that God will not fail us. It says he will not fail thee in the next part of that verse. I was reading recently in Joshua, and I came upon chapter number 23, verse number 14, and it says this, "And ye know that in all your hearts and in all your souls, that not one thing hath failed of all the good things which the Lord your God spake concerning you. All are come to pass unto you, and not one thing hath failed thereof." I'm glad that God has never failed us. Not with one thing is what that verse says. And that's a pretty good track record. Not one thing has he ever failed in that he has promised. And if he's never failed back then in Bible times, he won't fail you today. Thinking about myself, I'm one of those people that are kind of like a people pleaser, not in the sense that I, just kind of just do what the crowd does all the time, or just if someone asks me to do something, even if it's ridiculous, that I go and do it. But I'm a people pleaser in a sense that I like to aim to please and feel extremely bad or extremely terrible when I fall short, or if I fail that person that I'm trying to please. And I'm glad I never have to worry about that with God. God's never going to disappoint us, and he's never going to fail us. If God promised to bless and preserve his people back then in Bible times, he's going to do it for you and me today. And I'm thankful for that. And number 4, in this verse I see, God will not forsake us. In Hebrews 13:5, it says, "I will never leave thee nor forsake thee." I'm glad that God promises that he'll never leave us, and he's our friend. In college, one of my professors said that sometimes God brings people into our life for a season only, and maybe they're a friend just for a particular moment in our life, and they're not friends with us for other moments in our life. And I think of some friends that I have that maybe I'm not as close to anymore, maybe people I grew up with in elementary, or maybe someone I went to college with, or somehow our paths have crossed and we were close at one point, but maybe we're not as close today. Not even necessarily because they've forsaken me or if I've forsaken them, but because maybe with changes in our lives and distance and time, we don't get to communicate as much, or we're not as close in that way. But I'm glad that God is a friend for every season, and no matter what we're going through in our life, and even if we forsake him, and even if we fail him, he's not going to forsake us, and he's not going to fail us. And I'm thankful for that as well. Number 5, I see in this verse, don't fear. Fear can be a very real thing. Whether you're a child or you're a teen or you're an adult, fear is very real. What's scary to someone else may not be scary to you, but it's very real to them. And we all have our own fears. And it makes me think of my niece, Jacqueline. So Joy's eldest daughter, she's 3 years old, almost going to be 4 in June. Her name's Jacqueline. The other day, my sister was telling me that they were watching a Hallmark, and there was this scene where this building caught on fire. And it was a very kind of scary scene, I guess, for a child. But to us, of course, we think, oh, that's not very scary. We think it's very interesting, or, we want to know what happens next, or how they put out the fire and whatnot. But apparently that night, Jacqueline went to bed and never went to sleep the rest of the night. And she cried and cried and cried the whole night through. And my sister stayed up with her. But Jacqueline would not share what was scaring her until, I don't know if I think it was the next day. At some point, my sister finally got it out of her what was wrong. And she admitted that it was that fire scene that scared her. And she was in tears this whole night. And so fear, is very real to a child or to an adult. But, I'm glad that God is not the creator of fear. Fear is from the devil. In 2 Timothy 1:7, it says, "For God hath not given us a spirit of fear, but of power and of love and of a sound mind." Don't let fear keep you from doing what God wants you to do. Don't let fear keep you from being happy and having joy in your life because you're in the center of God's will. There's nothing happier than being in the center of God's will, doing exactly what he's supposed to do. Another thing, don't let fear stop you from doing right, even through a hard time. And that's easier said than done. We all go through hard times, and especially right now with this coronavirus going on, I'm sure many of us are going through some hard times at home. Maybe you have some different struggles with just in your own little life, or maybe with your children, or with your own little family. But God knows. And you don't have any reason to fear, and we don't have any reason to fear, because he's going to take care of it. He already said he will, and we just need to trust in him, and I'm thankful for that. And now more than ever is the time for us to not fear, but rather determined to have courage to keep pressing on and to keep moving forward for our sake and for our family's sake. Lastly, I see in this verse, don't fret. The last part of that verse says, neither be dismayed. Dismayed is to be upset, worried, or agitated because of some unwelcome situation or occurrence. This makes me think of my daughter, Emma. She's our little preemie. She's almost 9 months old. She'll be 9 months in a couple days. She loves to be held. She's perfectly happy just sitting on my lap and maybe playing with a little something in her hand or just watching something with me. That's like her happy spot. And she doesn't always do this, but many times, if I try to put her down and she doesn't want to be put down, she'll let you know she doesn't want to be put down, and she starts fussing and crying. And sometimes I put her down and she's fine playing on the ground by herself, and then from the corner of her eye she sees me leave, and she thinks, oh, she's leaving me, where's mom going? And then she starts fussing and crying again, even though this whole entire time she was perfectly fine, she was perfectly happy, until she realized I was leaving. Sometimes we're like that with God. When we think that all of a sudden things aren't going our way, or maybe we think or we feel that the Lord's not with us, or we feel all alone, we start to get worried, or we start to get upset, like Emma does when she thinks her mom's leaving her, when she thinks I'm leaving her. And we have no reason to worry or to fret or to fear, because God's always with us, and he never did leave us, or he never will leave us or forsake us. It says in that verse, Isaiah 41 verse 10, Fear thou not, for I am with thee. Be not dismayed, for I am thy God. I will strengthen thee, yea, I will help thee. I will uphold thee with the right hand of my righteousness. Let's not get upset or worried about things that are going on in our lives, through whatever trial you may be going through, or whatever battle you're facing. Let's just give it to the Lord and not fret, and realize that God's taking care of it for us. So whatever battle you're going through today, maybe you're about to go into a battle, maybe you're in the middle of a battle, or maybe you're going to go through a battle tomorrow. Though I'm sure everyone is going through a little something today, I'm sure. Let's remember Deuteronomy 31 verse 8. And the Lord, he it is that doth go before thee. He'll be with thee, he will not fail thee, neither forsake thee. Fear not, neither be dismayed. Let's remember that God is our forerunner. He's already one step ahead of us. He's our friend. He's always with us. He will not fail us. And he never has failed, and he never will. And he will not forsake us. And don't fear and don't fret. I hope that something today that I said would be a help and a blessing to someone. I know that this verse was a help to me when I first read it, and I know I still need it today. Thank you again for this opportunity to speak with you and to just share my heart, and I hope that you all have a blessed day today.